Hey guys, this is your girl Jennifer Lynn, and I am back with another YouTube video. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So, I have a little bit of an interesting story for you guys. Before I get started, this is a prophetic word from the Lord. So, as always, before you come into agreement with this word, please take it back to the Lord to see if it is in fact for you. And if it is for you, then many blessings to you in your kingdom love story. Okay, so the name of this story is They Are Coming Back Home Where They Belong. They are coming back home where they belong. So, for many of you guys, if you don't know, today is St. Patrick's Day. I don't think St. Patrick's Day has ever taken place on a Sunday, to my knowledge. I don't really engage in the holidays so much, but this is more so what I'm going to tell you guys is a little bit of a back history and a backstory about St. Patrick. And it really kind of blew me away because this story just popped up in my email. Now, I have about 4 or 5 different email accounts. And so I was on my phone today, and then I get a notification that says, Jennifer, let the Lord speak to you as you read this article. So I just decided, why not? I'll go on and read it. And so it is the story of Saint Patrick. So I don't know if any of you guys know anything about Saint Patrick. I did not. So I was very interested in this story. So this is a story that is going to be connected to kingdom marriage. So I hope you guys enjoy this as much as I enjoyed it when I first read it and I kind of put things together. So let's get started. Okay, so the story of Saint Patrick. Okay, so Saint Patrick, he was an evangelist and he was a missionary in Ireland. Today is 2024. So he died on this day 1600 years ago. Now, his father was a deacon and his grandfather was a priest. St. Patrick himself, he was not an active believer. He didn't really practice having a relationship with God. So at the age of 16, he was captured by a group of pirates and he was held captive for 6 years and he was forced to work as a shepherd. And so, as a shepherd, as many of you guys know, they are tending to animals. And so, while he was a captive, he went through a spiritual transformation. And so, while he was, being held captive, he wrote this confession and it talked about how God had mercy on him when he was young and ignorant and a non-believer. And so, God, like I said, God had mercy on him. God forgave him for not being an active believer. So one day he heard a voice that said, "You are going home and your ship is ready." Okay, so he ended up fleeing his slave master. And get this man, he traveled 200 miles away. He sailed on a ship for 3 days because he wanted to leave Ireland, and he sailed on a ship for 3 days to get to Britain. Then after that, he walked 28 days in the wilderness, 28 days in the wilderness, all while being faint and hungry. He was very tired and hungry. And so this is everything that this man he went through, he endured. And so he went through these trials and tribulations, but he eventually made his way back home to his family. This was such an interesting story. And so I want to show you guys how this is related to your kingdom love story. So, number one, as many of you guys may know, okay, so you guys are standing for kingdom marriage. You're standing for your kingdom spouse. So this is primarily a word for people that know who their kingdom spouses are. You may be standing, believing, whatever the case may be. Your spouse may very well be a non-believer. They may have even left God. Okay? Um if they have left God, or if they are a non-believer, if they are out in the world as a prodigal doing XYZ, they are being held captive by the enemy. They are doing things that are beneath them according to the will of God for their lives. There is things that God has put in place for them to do that is much more beyond and greater than what they are doing right now. And so, your spouse, a lot of them, they're young, and I mean spiritually young. They're wet behind the ears. Like I said, they're non believers. They think they have it all figured out, but they are going to have a wake up call. They are going to have an encounter with God. They are going to hear the voice of the Lord. And the voice of the Lord, when they hear that, when they have that encounter, God is going to be telling them, and I feel God right now. Oh my God. God is going to be telling them it is time for you to go home and your ship is ready. Now, for some of them, they are going to have to probably go through a few things before they make it back to you. It may be a journey because the enemy is going to try to keep them. As I said, St. Patrick, he fled his slave master, but he had to go through a lot before he made it back home. And so, I want you guys to just keep believing and know that your spouse is on their way back, and they are going to be coming back home where they belong. Okay, so I want to share with you guys a little bit more all that this man went through when, even when he became a Christian and he started living for God. He fought against slavery. So this is him now that he has come out of the ways of the world. He's fighting against slavery. This man, he was beat, he was robbed, he was put in chains, he was imprisoned. His life was threatened many times. So your many of the spouses, they, like I said, I talked about this in the last video. Because they have rejected God, there has to be a judgment call. And when they get tired and they hear that voice that's coming from God, that's telling them to go back home, they're tired, they've had it. They don't have, all they know is home. They knew that they were safe when they were home. They are gonna head home, and home is in your direction. And so, one of the things that St. Patrick wrote, this is a little something that he wrote. He said, never before did they know of God except to serve idols and unclean things, but now they have become people of the Lord and are called children of God. So that's the kingdom spouse. They don't really know who God is. They don't really, a lot of them, they walked away from God. They stopped believing. They never got to know God. They never had a relationship with God, and now they're they're giving in and serving these idols. They're doing all these unclean things. But once the Lord calls them home, they are going to be converted. They are going to start living for the Lord. They're going to see the God in you. You guys are going to be walking together and serving the Lord together. I'm telling you, these spouses are coming home. So this is why you have to keep praying over your spouse. You have to keep praying over over your spouse, because the enemy, even, I feel like, even when, well, I'm not going to even say feel like, I know, even when your spouse make up their mind, the enemy is going to try to come after them even harder. And then not only that, even when you guys come together, now the enemy has seen what you guys are all about. You guys are this dynamic duo. So that means you gotta come into agreement with God. You gotta come into agreement with the plan that God has put before you and your spouse, and you guys have to rock out together. Y'all gotta go against the enemy, fight the kingdom of darkness. So you guys should even be praying for each other, even when y'all come together. But while your spouse is out there in the wilderness, you have to hold your spouse down. You got to hold your spouse down. You got to know and believe that they are coming back home. And so I want to share this last thing with you guys. This is a prayer of St. Patrick. And I think it's a nice prayer. It's a simple prayer, but I feel like it's powerful. And this is something that you can use over yourself and your kingdom spouse. So one of his most famous prayers says, Christ beside me, Christ before me, Christ behind me, Christ within me, Christ beneath me, Christ above me. So he is saying that God has him covered all over. Wherever he go, God is with him. So you got to be able to speak the same thing over yourself and the same thing over your kingdom spouse. This is a simple prayer that you guys can say every single day over yourselves and over your kingdom spouse. So, Christ beside me, Christ beside my kingdom spouse, Christ before me, Christ before my kingdom spouse, Christ behind me, Christ behind my kingdom spouse, Christ within me, Christ within my kingdom spouse, Christ beneath me, Christ beneath my kingdom spouse, Christ above me, Christ above my kingdom spouse. You have to cover your kingdom spouse. I know it's hard, and I know a lot of you guys think that this thing is not going to come together, but the prayers work. You got to keep at it. And like I said, there may be times when you get tired of praying. You can say something just as simple as this prayer. All powerful positive words, they make a difference. And this, it was a simple prayer, but I feel like it's very powerful. So know that your spouse is coming home. They are headed back home. So I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. I was kind of blown away by this story because I did not know a thing about St. Patrick. Yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. This is your girl, Jennifer Lynn, the Crown Jewel, and I will talk with you guys next time.